Now I'm ready to go. Okay. So I hadn't started yet anyway. You don't need to take down what I'm doing on this page here. But the video later, please take some notes on it when you do get to that. So today we're looking at ratios of amounts. So yesterday you should have come across the ratios and how we simplify them. If we remember from yesterday, if we have a ratio maybe 60 to 20, as long as we have the same divisor, both sides, it's the same ratio. It's a bit like equivalent fractions. So if I divide both sides, let's say by 10, because I know they both end in 0, so that'd be 6 to 2. Oh, I can divide by 2 again, and that gives 3 on this side, and divide by 2 this side, and it gives 1. So I fully simplified. Now, as long as I do the same operation to both sides, then it's okay, because I haven't changed the ratio. Now, as you may have seen in some of the more difficult problems, you can be left with some decimals. For instance, we have maybe 0.8 as a ratio to 4. So this is not a ratio of 8 to 4. Of course, this one is smaller than the right-hand side. So how do I overcome that decimal issue? Well, same with finding common denominator in a way. If I multiply both sides by the same thing, so imagine this is numerator, denominator. If I multiply both by 10, that will move this decimal place 1, and then it will disappear. So instead of 0.8, I get 8. And then instead of 4, I have 40. And this is an easier ratio then to work with. So I kind of had to go backwards first. My first step was backwards before. I then simplified, so I can divide both sides now by 8. 8 into 8 goes once, and 8 into 40 goes 5 times. Okay, and you can do something similar with fractions then as well, and make sure that things are in the same units. So we were looking, some of the questions, I believe, in yellow or blue had some centimeters to meters or kilograms to grams. So this unit isn't specifically about measurement. We'll get to that later on in the year. So if you're not sure, by all means, look that up on the internet. If you're not sure what the conversion is, that's okay. We'll learn those later on in the year, but I'll just do one of them just to help you out. If I want to compare the ratios, let's say we're measuring the floor of a house, and we have a tile of length 80 centimeters. Oh, I just used 80. I'll use a different number. 50 centimeters, and I know my floor is, so that's a tile, and I know my floor is maybe 3 meters long floor. Okay, so what's the ratio of tiles to the length of the floor? In other words, that would tell me how many tiles I need in that length. So I set up my ratio 50 to 3. Oh, something wrong here. Clearly, I have the wrong unit. 50. It's not, the tiles are not, that's more than 10 times bigger. No, the floor is bigger than the tiles. So I have to make sure I'm in the same unit. So 50 is in centimeters. So it's perhaps easier to convert meters to centimeters by multiplying by 100. If I multiply by 100, I have 300 centimeters. Now that makes a more sensible ratio that I can simplify. Divide both sides maybe by 10 first if you want. You could probably get there a little bit quicker if you divide it by 50, but we'll divide by 10. And then we'll divide by 6 or 5. 5 now. 6 doesn't go into 5, Mr. Collins. Jeez. 5 into 5 goes once, and 5 into 30 goes 6 times. So we have a ratio of 1 to 6. So that means how many tiles will fit along that bit of floor? Well, 6 tiles. Because for every one bit of and the floor is 6 times bigger than the tile length, so we need 6 tiles to fill it in. That's how ratios could work for maybe a real life problem. So that was yesterday's work. So if you didn't get that done, you can also finish that if you've time today. That'll be, all homework's going to be due on Monday this week. So the one for today as well will be due on Monday. Now, I started today by saying I'm going to talk about ratio of amounts. I haven't talked about it yet. I've just done simplifying ratios. Next, I'm going to do actual ratio of amounts. I'll turn the page for that. Okay, so ratios of amounts. So you can watch the video on this one and take notes, but let's just watch me do one first. If I have a question and a prize between 3 people is split in the ratio 2 to 3 to 7. Okay, and the prize is, let's put the prize here in dollars. Let's use dollars because, you know, the election, $240. And I want to split that in the ratio 2 to 3 to 7. So obviously this person has won because they have the most parts. They must have won the prize, and maybe this is second place and this is third place. So the bigger your parts, 7 parts, is going to be way bigger than 2 parts. You're going to win more. But I want to know how much each part is. And for that, I use fractions. And the key to this, find what 1 part is. So if you're looking at a prize, or you're looking at an area, or you're looking at a length, find what 1 part of the length of the prize or the amount is. And then each operation from that should be a little bit easier, because I want to know what 2 parts are, 3 parts are, 7 parts are. So in order to find the total number of parts, I add those 3. How many parts are in total? So one person earns 7 of them, and then there's another 3, and there's another 2. So what's the total parts? Yes, Asher, 1 part would be 20. Total parts would be 2 from the ratio plus 3 plus 7, which is a total parts of 12. So there's 12 parts to the prize. So that means my prize, 240, has to be split into 12 parts. In other words, 1/12 from fractions in the last unit. Dividing by 12 gives me that answer. You can use your calculator if you want for this, 20. And that is 1 part. Okay. Don't worry, I'll get to the homework in a minute. Just watch for now and try and understand before you start doing the homework. Okay?
Mr. Collins?
Yeah.
Do you have a video about this?
I do, yeah. So what we're going to do is just you watch this one, and you can take notes on the video, which has another example. I'm just going to do this one example, okay?
Is there a link to this?
Yes, of course. There's a link to the video. Yes, it's on ManageBack. Yes.
And
yeah. Another question. Yeah.
I tried to figure it out myself, and I think I did pretty well.
Okay. Good. Okay. Is there a question about methods first? Not about homework or where the video is. I'll come to that at the end. Just about this method. Okay. I'll get to the questions at the end about homeworks and due dates and all that in a second. I haven't finished this question yet. So 1 part is $20. 240 has been split into 12 parts. 1 of those parts is $20. And now I need to split it. This person gets 2 parts. This person gets 3 parts. If you know the answer, put it in the chat. This part gets 7 parts. You put it in the chat, put it with the ratio things in between it. So Asher thinks it's 40 to 60 to 140. Let's see if he's right. If 1 part is 20, finding out what 2 parts are from this guy's, the third place, must be twice as big. So 2 parts would be 20 multiplied by 2, which is 40. Do that on your head. 3 parts then, which was second place in the prize, would be 20 multiplied by 3, which is 60. And then 7 parts, who the person must have won it, 7. So I'm going to do 20, which is 1 part, multiplied by 7, because they get 7 times 20, 140. Now, how do I write that as an answer? Well, I must write in the same order I got the ratio in. 40, ... 60 was second place, and first place got 7 parts, and it was 140. And that's my answer then. You can test your answer by simplifying all 3 of them at the same time if you wanted, and you should get the same ratio as above, but you don't need to do that because this is the answer in dollars. They're all in dollars, all in the same unit, so we're all good. All right. A couple of things.